Do you think from what you saw in Kyrie in games 1 and 2 that he let the crowd get to him a little too much, or was that Boston defense and he can figure that out? What did you see in games 1 and 2 compared to 3 and 4?
Yeah, I'm actually going to say Boston defense. Obviously there is an emotional component to, him going back and playing in Boston. And that definitely exists, as a competitor, right? Just
Right.
wanting to like hammer it home and drop 40, right? Kind of thing. But I did think that Boston's defense was impressive. I thought that they sent layers at him defensively. And
Yep.
layers means that once one layer is broken, it's a second layer that's stepping up to help. And once that layer is broken, because Kyrie will break down 2 defenders, then it's a third layer that's there. And I just thought they did a really good job of just showing him constant layers, constant defenders in front of him, and making him like extra work for all of his shots. And so I feel like Kyrie can figure that out. But what I'm going to say is like, I actually truly believe that everything for the Mavs will stem from their defense, because they do better when they're playing with pace and when they're able to get out and score the basketball, and Kai can flow in the open court. And the open court doesn't happen unless you're getting steals, unless you're getting quick rebounds and you're outletting and you're getting out there, right? And so I think pace is important for Kai and for Luka, but obviously the Mavs overall. And so I think that the first maybe 2 games, their pace looked a little bit slower, and therefore Kai looked a little bit more stagnant, right? And when pace looks slower, he looks stagnant. There are more defenders there. Now things look clustered and he can't operate like we know he can. So I would say I feel like, the defense and setting the tone and then pace is super important. But I definitely think that Kai has to be fantastic in game 5. I think that he has to be electric.
Flip it to Boston side. They didn't get a game from Drew Holiday, who had a lot of turnovers. You didn't get a game from Derek White. Like, nobody really had anything they can hang their hat on. What do you see from those two? Because I feel like they're going to get a response from one of those two in game 5.
Yeah, I think I would be banking on Derek White a little bit more. He was minus 29 today in 31 minutes of play, and he has just been so solid, so consistent, so efficient. And it kind of was almost like he was due for a bad game. Like it was going to happen. But I think he's been one of the most consistent players and members of the Celtics throughout the season, but especially in the playoffs. So I would look for him to do what he's been doing, right? Stretch the floor, knock down open shots, make good decisions offensively. And then in terms of Holiday, right, I think his focus becomes the defensive side of the basketball. Can I change the game with my defense? Can I make Kai, have a tough game like games 1 and game 2, right? Where, hey, it's just Luka chucking up every time and like, hey, our team is good. We've neutralized the main threat.
If they're going to win, Boston's going to have to be plus 18, plus 20 from 3 like they were in game 3, because they're not going to take the twos, and you're not sure if they're going to really get to the line because Tatum and Brown aren't blow-by-you guys that can just draw contact and make it so obvious that the refs are going to have to call it. If Boston is going to be who they are, and like I said, this ain't my get down, it ain't how I kick it, but if they're going to be the team that takes the majority of their shots from 3, they're going to have to take a lot more threes in volume in game 5